Hello, Jon. I'm so delighted to have another conversation with you. We've had some previous conversations, which we turned into a podcast, which is available on my YouTube channel. And today, I just want to briefly introduce you again and introduce our overriding theme for today. So you're Jon Christopher Henningsen, and you're a health coach, educator, and mentor. That's how you describe yourself on your Facebook page. I've noticed, yes. And today, Jon, we want to explore together and highlight the really interesting and often not so well understood link between childhood trauma on the one hand, the suppression of the immune system on the other, and how this relates to the development of cancer and possibly also autoimmune system diseases. So that's the overriding theme of our conversation. And I know we are both really interested in that and work with our clients around that. So what is your understanding of this link, Jon?
Yeah, thanks for having me again, Kirsten. I'm
Absolute pleasure.
excited to dive into these topics with you. When it comes to immune suppression, there are a lot of components we need to touch on. Some of them is something you can do something about, and some of them, like you said, we have to travel back into childhood to unpack what happened. It's not so much only what happened to you, but when and how did you do something about what happened to you, so you don't get stuck there. If you stay there for too long, of course, it will take a much more structured approach and a greater investment to get out of it than if you do something earlier. And that's what we both help people do. Yes. Approach with your expertise, and I focus a lot on lifestyle.
So I think the understanding is, I mean, first of all, I think just to highlight the understanding that there is a strong link between the experience of childhood trauma and the suppression of the immune system. So that is a link that not everyone is aware of.
Over time, this constant suppression of immunity that can lead to more serious medical conditions. Yes, and we know that also from the literature. Yeah, there is a link.
Yes, and I think the link is, the way I understand it from a psychological perspective, which I actually really get from Dr. Garber Martis' work, is when we have childhood trauma, it is not so much what happens outside, but what happens inside of us, which is that we tend to disconnect from our emotional life, from our authentic self. You know, that may be pain, anger, rage, you know, all the things that we all experience as children. But if we don't grow up in an environment where they can be authentically expressed, we as children naturally disconnect from these painful feelings because there's nowhere to go with them. And that suppression of the feelings is linked to suppression of the immune system, because our body and our emotional life, they're not different systems. So I think that's kind of the basic understanding. And yes, as you were then saying, over time, that continuous suppression of feeling and parallel suppression of the immune system is then linked to the development of possibly cancer or autoimmune diseases. And you are a coach and you work with many cancer clients, aren't you? And you focus. So I just wanted to sort of outline that exact link, because I think that is really such an interesting link. And so how do you approach that with your clients? You're saying going back into childhood to explore what happened, to release the emotions, or how do you approach that, Jon, with your clients?
Rebalance everything. They are stuck there. How do we get unstuck? There are many ways to do that. But what I do, I build a foundation of healthy habits, the lifestyle. And that helps tremendously, because that will give the body a possibility to recover there have been nutritional deficiencies for years, decades maybe, and there's still not a very good focus on those issues. I can see with the people I work with, vitamin D deficiency, almost everyone, both cancer patients, but also people with autoimmune disease. Then there's B12. There's a long list of nutritional deficiencies. Some are caused by lifestyle. Some are caused by lifestyle plus medication. So there's a lot to unpack there also. And then we need to find out what's going on. What's the culprit? What do we decide to do about that?
So, Jon, if I just could ask you a bit more, delve a bit deeper what you've just said. So you said there are these deficiency of nutrients, and you need to ask questions and find out the state of the body and the mind. So how do you do that in your work?
Yeah. If we are in a state of doubt, then I send them to the doctor's office. They'll get blood work done. We measure. We don't guess. Yeah. And then we can improve. Once you have a number or a metric, it's easy to monitor. And already there is a shift in mindset, because when that marker becomes better, they feel better. They are on their way to healing, to recovery. So it's an initiation process. Yeah.
So you encourage your clients to go to the GP or the doctor, have their blood levels done, and to break down exactly these elements, and then they come back to you and you say, oh, I see this, and this is what we can do about it. Okay.
Optimize with the proper nutrition. Nutrition quality is much more important than nutrition quantity. For some people, it's both. On the way people with certain diagnoses, anorexia, and we're not going into that today, but there are certain situations where you need to focus on more than one modality. But the recovery, once they begin to feel better, they have more energy, they have more energy to invest to become even better. Then when they tell me I sleep a little better, I feel better, have more energy, then we begin to walk. I like walks in nature, in the forest, because it balances. We talked about that in the spring. The immune system are tied to the autonomic
nervous system.
Yes, exactly. We have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic, fight or flight, and they can be stuck there. And then we have rest and digest over here. They need to be balanced. And what I see and what the research also shows us is that cancer patients, especially solid tumors, they are stuck in sympathetic firing for years, decades even. And that takes a toll on the organism. Yeah, that suppresses the immune system. So
they are constantly in kind of fight, flight, in a stress response.
Yes, stress response.
Right.
The war zone being. Yeah.
Right.
And that steals a lot of resources that the immune system should have had in all those years. Keep away and find the intruders, the cancer cells. Yeah. So they don't set up camp that becomes a tumor over time.
How do you work? Let's say if a client with cancer comes to you and you've started to work on the nutrition, how does the childhood trauma for you in your mind and your work fit in with that?
Just like you do, I listen a lot. What are people telling me? Is there something they are going back to over and over again? Maybe there's a wound there. And when I feel confident enough that they are where they should be, I ask questions. And then once the trust is there, it's a trust-based relationship, just like when they come to you.
That's cool.
Then, yes. Then we can begin to unpack, because it can be, and of course it will be to some extent, very uncomfortable to talk about all this.
You have become a coach in this field because you yourself recovered from cancer some years ago.
Yeah, and I had no mentor by my side, so I guessed a lot, and that's also where you can get down some roads that are blind, and you have to return, so you lose a lot of precious time, energy, resources there when you don't have someone. That's why I'm so grateful and dedicated to help people, so they do not waste time, energy, resources like I did, because I had no one, no professional support. I had emotional support from my wife, my family, but no professional support, lifestyle support.
So your own experience inspired your work as a health coach.
Yes, and people listen once you have lived through it yourself. That's why I talk so much about lead by example.
And Jon, here's another question. When we talked a little bit in our conversation, when we prepared our podcast, you talked very passionately about from breakdown to breakthrough, which I think is, often people find you and me when there's a breakdown of some function, whether that is health or psychological balance, which can be triggered by all sorts of life events. I imagine we all in our lives have breakdown moments, which then lead to breakthrough moments. What is your thinking around that, or your process around that with your clients as a health coach?
Yeah. Then we go into depth. What happened? Why did it happen? Could I have done something differently? And then I want people to focus on the lesson, not the failure, not the destruction, not the chaos. Pick up the lesson. And the lesson is the important part. Yes. From the breakdown. We can use that. I've done that many, many times, especially the first couple of years, 3 years, when I had to find my way back to life. Yeah. Self-respect, so important. Self-care. You and I, we talk so much about self-care. It's a forgotten art. Yeah.
It's often misunderstood as well. It's often understood as a very superficial thing, to have a bath or something, but it's actually really, I think, self-care, self-love on the deepest level. It's in our thoughts, how we think about ourselves, in what we do with our uncomfortable feelings, with our past. It's all inclusive, isn't it? Self-respect, self-love, self-care.
So important.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I found, as we are talking about the link between childhood experiences or childhood trauma, which, by the way, doesn't always have to be awful. I think childhood trauma can also be very subtle. It's not. Sometimes people understand childhood trauma to be sexual child abuse or something awful. Sometimes it could be a continuous misattunement of a parent to the child, which then leads to a misattunement to our own emotions somehow. And so I think that's also very important, isn't it? And I learned myself, for example, on my own journey, that I felt, I grew up with a fairly misattuned mother, emotionally misattuned. Therefore, I kind of learned unconsciously to abandon myself at times, in my own connection to my emotions, and which we kind of call self-abandonment, in a way. And that can be very subtle. Yeah, it can be very subtle to notice our traumatic patterns that we developed in our childhoods, and it's all about self-care as well. Neglect, it could be emotional neglect, nutritional neglect, financial neglect. Yes.
all kinds of neglect. Yeah.
Mm.
And you pick that up, and it's in there, and you don't do anything about it until a cancer diagnosis,
Mm.
like it happened, like it happened for me. So yeah.
Because that's very serious, isn't it? That's a really loud alarm signal.
Yeah. The alarm was definitely
Yeah.
had
Mm.
been going off for some time. Yeah.
Here's another question for you, Jon. Do you work with, because of cancer, there are different stages of cancer, and do you work with all stages of cancer?
Yes.
Like like mild as well as the most advanced forms?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, I do.
And how is your approach? I'm actually will be different. How is that the severity of cancer or the advancedness of the cancer or autoimmune? How is that informing your response to your clients?
Calming them down. That's the first step, especially when we're talking late stage. It's been diagnosed late stage, or maybe it was diagnosed earlier, but the treatment didn't go as hoped. And now they are more desperate. They are searching for some answers. Then they come to me. Maybe they continue doing conventional treatment plus what I can provide.
Yes.
And, no judgment here. People should do what they feel right for them in their situation. And then, of course, it's much more difficult to turn things around, Kirsten.
Yes.
Yes, but calming them down is the first step. Here's what we are going to do. I would do this if I was in your situation. And already there, I can see a shift. Whoa, now I don't have to search for answers and use my energy in all possible directions. Now I'm here with Jon, and we sat down, and he told me this. Okay, let's do this. And then you focus your attention, your energy, your resources on that step, on that route. And that calms people down. There is so much information out there. It's just information overload and overwhelm. People are overwhelmed. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So getting out of that fog helped people tremendously.
Yes.
Yes.
And when people are calmer, we know that from ourselves, whether we have cancer or not, I think our mind becomes clearer. Our inner chemistry is different, in a way we are not maybe releasing so much anxiety hormones, which then
stress hormones down.
Yes, which bases then our cells in a different kind of juice, which is maybe more conducive to to recovery, or rather than things getting worse.
Exactly. And
yes,
then
that's
you're already
important.
on the way to self-empathy, self-love, self-respect. Maybe it is possible, Kirsten, to do something. Doctors told me otherwise, but this young man here, he told me something else. We are doing this.
Yes.
And then the wife or the husband is also there, and they invest a lot. So hope.
Hope, yes.
Don't take hope away from people.
Yes. So it sounds your work, Jon, can be complementary to conventional treatment, and offers really an individual emotional connection to you, or to me if I was the person working with, which is so important, isn't it? Because medical care in the sort of public sector or even in the private sector is often very medicalized. It's about the cancer. It's not so much about the person as a whole, and that is a wonderful gift. That we both offer, and it gives a different experience.
Yeah. And then also elements like discipline, self-discipline,
right?
Responsibility was a tough one for me. Whoa, I needed that. Yeah.
Say a bit more.
You are responsible for your actions. Yeah. And I was I was saved a couple of times. My parents came to my aid, but at some point you have to grow up.
Yes.
Yes, as an individual.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And that came a bit late for me, but that was after the cancer diagnosis. Yeah. Our daughter was 3 years old.
When you were diagnosed. Yes. And how old is she now?
She'll be 14.
Okay, so that was about exactly 10 years ago. Yes. So in what way did you feel you were kind of almost kicked into taking more responsibility and growing yourself up? In what way? Because it might be interesting to people who are watching this. In what way exactly?
I mostly I leveled up in life because I eliminated my victim mentality.
That's a big one.
Yes. And that CD was playing over and over and over in my life for decades, Kirsten.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Oh, it's easy for everyone else. Oh, my situation is unique. It's much more tough for me. And you know everything.
I'm very familiar with it. I think we all, have that need to dismantle this kind of a self-destructive mental structure in our mind. The victim mentality. It's often a very harsh word, victim mentality, but it is that we feel somehow that external circumstances, make our lives hard and.
The world is out to get you.
Yes, at its worst. But yes. So dismantling that is a big one in your work with your clients, and in mine as well, and in my own continuous work on myself. I think there are always hidden little pockets, that are still in that mentality. Yes,
definitely.
Yeah. So I love that you're highlighting this here, Jon. Yes,
that was exactly from breakdown to breakthrough.
Yes.
There's that process.
Yes, right. Yes,
and many times you know, but you don't do anything about it.
Yes, right. Yes.
How many years do you want to go by before you do anything about it?
Yes.
And some people, unfortunately, they die before.
Yes.
They did a chance to
do that work. Yeah.
The possibilities were there, but time ran out. The sand of the hourglass waits for no man, for no one. Just keep running for everyone. Was all. You can slow it a little bit and win a little bit of extra time if you are very careful with your lifestyle, your habits. Research show that. Of course, I'm a proponent of that, but it won't stop. It always.
That's right. Yes, the time is ticking in the background, and just that. I mean, you're talking about nutrition, exercise, mindset, the dismantling of the mindset, which takes time. And it's essentially it is a lifelong process. But I imagine just even doing a little bit for someone who has cancer could lead to quite fundamental changes and activate the person, mobilize the person into better habits.
The immune system.
Yes, that's it. Right.
In a state of crisis, we need that to be activated again.
Right.
And we know chemotherapy kills the satellite cells, but not the cancer stem cells. That's why it's coming back. 2-3 years down the road, the cancer comes back. That's why.
Right.
Conventional treatment takes care of the cancer satellite cells, not the cancer stem cells. Yes.
What are they, the cancer stem cells? I'm not an expert at all in cancer. What are cancer stem cells?
That's about 1% of the cancer load in the tumor. And their survivability is extreme and very, very good, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah.
So they often survive
The
chemotherapy.
Toxicity, yes, they can survive a great deal of toxicity. Yeah.
Yeah, so therefore this accompanying parallel work on mindset, on nutrition, on self-care, all, that it's kind of changing in a way the identity of the person, or belief systems, and it raises in a way the consciousness and awareness of a person, which is where you're working as well.
Exactly.
And where,
hopeless to hope, from hopeless to hope.
Yes.
You need hope in that process.
And what you said earlier, the mobilization of the immune system, that is so core. That is brilliant. It'd be really good to get a clear understanding what are the factors in your work that you use and utilize to mobilize the immune system, because that's what we want, isn't it? That's exciting, actually. Yes.
I use quality nutrition and with an additional layer of supplementation. Because once you're diagnosed with a serious illness, disease, there has been nutritional deficiencies for a very long time. And we can see that on a standard panel from the doctor's office. You could look at the CRP. Yeah, C-reactive protein. That's an inflammatory marker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's always high in cancer patients or when the immune system is suppressed.
I remember my own, on the day I was diagnosed, it was 2.0.
Okay. And what is it supposed to be?
As low as possible.
Okay. So 0.1 or something.
I had blood work done during the summer, and it was 0.6 this time.
Right. And is that normal range, I assume?
Yes, it is.
That's excellent. Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Right.
I've had several cancer patients show up with 4, 5, 6, 8, 12. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I know the inflammation has overtaken the bodies. So
okay.
And the number one on the list for that is vitamin D, vitamin D3. Yes.
That's the nutritional component.
Yes.
Yes. What else mobilizes? So that's really important. What are other elements that you utilize to mobilize your clients?
Movement, exercise.
Exercise.
Yeah. For someone that has not exercised, Kirsten, I always use the word movement. Exercise, whoa, I'm out of here. Tell me more about movement. So using the right word to unlock a potential,
I can
to get them moving. It's so important to ask the right questions and use the right words. Yeah.
Movement is more doable than exercise. Yes, I can see that. Okay, so number 2 is movement or exercise, depending.
Sunshine, light,
sunshine, light.
Right. Circadian rhythm is so important. To be aligned, the light night cycle. And that has had a tremendous effect on me, because in the years where I was at my worst, I was up all night. And I can look back now, and also what I've read. Whoa. That's a destructive path.
Right.
Stop at night. Stop. Full stop, Kirsten.
Yes. Yeah. So what would you suggest as a healthy sleep or day and night pattern, sort of to be out 1 hour a day in the sun or in the daylight, or what? Is there anything that
on where you live?
Yes, of course, yes.
Here in Denmark now we're getting more darkness, and we had the last day of the year where you could produce vitamin D was the 3rd of October. So it's over for this year now.
Right. So now you have to supplement vitamin D.
People so they know that. Yeah, that's something you can do yourself. Go outside, go for a walk, go with the dog, play some ball with the kids, the grandkids. Movement.
Movement, daylight, what else mobilizes the immune system? How about this emotional? I remember when we talked before, you talked about emotional and spiritual elements as well. Is that right? Or
being in nature grounds you. It's so good for the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. Yeah, the rebalancing. Yeah. So just be in nature where we came from. There's too much culture, too little nature. Yes.
I would like to add one element, how to mobilize the immune system, which is particularly, which I do a lot as a psychologist, which is really when we go and visit childhood trauma, big emotions often come up, and it's really helping the person to regulate these emotions and learn to deal with the emotions and be with these emotions in a way that doesn't cut them off and also doesn't overwhelm them, which is an enormously complex skill set, which is, I think, another way of actually bringing out the emotions, releasing them, and kind of finding ways of balancing the emotions, which is also really such an important element
Totally
in that
agree,
process, isn't it? Yeah.
They need that. I will send them to someone like you. Yeah.
Yes. Right. So if someone needs that particular, then you're saying, okay, I work on the other elements, and if someone needs that, you'll send them to a psychologist.
That's an option. Yes.
That's one option. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Yes, that's what I specialize on. I'm not so focused on movement or the other elements that you're an expert in, but I help a lot with the emotional rebalancing, which is,
And also exercise as a self-development tool. That has helped me a lot. Doing something that you didn't think you could do. Whoa, that opens up a lot of potential.
Right.
Whoa, there's 50 kilograms on that biome. Do you think I can do that? I know you can. And then they lifted 5 times, and then we had a ceremony.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't break. No, you're strong. You're capable. Then there's even more hope. Yeah.
Yes. That's really
uplift people.
Yes. And help unfold the potential, physically,
I'm obsessed
mentally.
With that, Kirsten.
Right? Are you? Yes, that's brilliant. It's a good obsession to have.
Uplift people to unlock their potential. Yes. Yes.
Right, Jon, we kind of have another few minutes to bring our conversation to the end. Is there anything else you'd like to add or highlight?
Oh, I think we covered a lot, and
it's been,
let people rest and digest on that, and then maybe we can do it again at some point. And
brilliant.
Talk about other topics, Kirsten.
Yes.
And go in depth with those topics.
Yes. But I do also feel, Jon, we have covered nicely all the elements that actually contribute towards immune mobilization versus immune suppression, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, it's been enjoyable to talk with you.
Likewise.
And and I'll finish the conversation here. Goodbye to you, Jon, and goodbye to everyone who is watching as well. Until next time.